Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, depending of when are you watching this video. Um, we have our living room here. This is a follow-up from our last video, two last videos. I hope everybody's doing great, health-wise. Bottle, cup, and lamp. Opportunity to we put them on the left, but we're gonna shade everything. So this hour, if you haven't, you could watch the other one which we drew this. This is a follow-up, like I said. But if you want to draw from this video and catch up, you could probably look at what you see on the screen. um, Pencil, yellow, okay. Let's start shading. We want to give everything uh, different tonality to differentiate on each other. Right now we have the white paper and objects are outlined, but the moment we start shading is the moment we things start getting like a little more realistic touch and they actually look there in the space. This is the window on the upper right. Okay, this is a painting or a picture. We could I'm going to do something inside of it right now. Very simple. And something I want to point out that I noticed watching this drawing that you guys all have been creating um, is maybe the things weren't exactly located where I put mine, you know? So maybe somebody's table is shorter, or somebody's table is moved a little more towards the left, and then you could actually see, let's say, the leg of this table here, the small table. And if that's the case, then yes, you need to finish up the drawing that's behind the object that I do, you know. Right. So what do you guys think? Look at your drawing and see the differences. There may be slight differences from mine. um okay, I'm gonna start putting do a circle here for the sun. And the reason why I'm doing that is to pull our vision a little more towards the left. So that's the sun. Some mountains. One, two, three, and maybe a tree here. Excuse me. Okay. Well, let's start shading. Very, very extremely lightly the wall. This is the wall behind. And I want to also shade the or the sofa. Okay. And the reason why I want to do this too light, maybe the wall will be very, very light and the couch will be light too, but not as light as it's because it has a lot of details and I want to see these details. The okay, do this. And actually it's gonna be so light. Always use the side of your pencil to shade. It's gonna be very light because also as we keep moving our hands, the drawing is gonna get dirty. Okay. and that dirtiness from your fingers and your hand, that's enough to shade it. So this is why I don't want to emphasize too much the um the wall for now, but it's very lightly, and it's good for us to control the pressure we put. I see in the classes, I see many of, well, some of you drawing and being drawing very dark lines and drawing the next starlight. They're gonna leave a mark, and when we erase them, if you want to fix them, it's gonna be really hard to get rid of them. Um, that you can see like more gentle. So now I'm gonna take my finger, and it's okay if I get out of the line. Um, Careful that your fingers are not wet. You see, I'm going over the couch a little, I'm going over the painting a little, I'm going over the window a little, the lamp. All of these things are gonna be shaded. So I'm not really worried. But you see how the wall became very soft? You can't see the pencil mark um, darker. Right? Now I'll shade darker the frame, a little darker. We're gonna do the outline, make a sharper outline, sharper at the end later. Not always we have to shade using our finger. Sometimes we will leave the pattern of the it's getting built up. Yeah. Let's make the couch a little darker than the wall, making sure we can still see these lines that define the inside of the um, that define the inside of the of the couch. Okay. Uh, and same tone. Not everything has to have an exact different tone for everything. Like maybe the shading of the frame is the same shading of the lamp. I don't know, at the lamp post. But we gotta treat everything lightly, please. Light, like we gotta learn to control to make things light. Okay. See, and we're gonna use the eraser. Okay, we will also use the eraser um, because the eraser will create highlights. I'm about to darken this part of the window a little bit. But let's be gentle. And if something is really dark, don't just make it very dark, like all of a sudden, which is what I'm trying to teach you to avoid. Try to build the darkness. For example, I want to do very dark these little stumps of legs the couch has. So I do that, you see, and I go again to build on that darkness rather than going once and trying to really push the pencil through the paper, which damaged the drawing. Try to build on your darkness. There you go. Okay, the couch for now, I'm gonna leave it like that. The floor too for now, but let's darken maybe the table a little darker. Sorry, this small table here on the side. There you go, you see, in this leg. And there's a leg back here that should be here. We forgot. Okay, and then this. Trying to differentiate between these parts of the little table, but we can see them, you know. Okay. Um, let's paint the picture here. The tree being a little darker, the sky being a little light, so the sun can stand out. And the mountains may stay like that. You know, when we draw like this, well, this is an imaginary drawing, you know. But if we were to draw looking at our living room, then remember when we started drawing and we used to do a drawing scale of grays, like dark gray, dark, and different levels. This is very important because you can refer to that scale to pick the level of different tones you're building. Okay, try to avoid what I'm doing of earlier, which I put my hand over the drawing. um, and let's shade everything different tones. So the bottle a little bit, the cup I'm gonna leave alone, the table a little bit, just a little bit. The table we could look. I like that. I just made some lines, very light lines that could be shaded, and the legs, making lines to shade. Remember, we learned to make marks, right? And then this side here of the table. Okay, the floor we're gonna leave white for now, but everything so far is shaded a little bit. Maybe this line here. And just to show you what you're capable of doing with your eraser is to clean up a little. You don't have to clean up too much because it will get dirty, okay? But you see how the eraser cleans up inside the window here. This is just to give you a little taste of how the eraser can also create whites. If you have one of those dry brushes, but it has to be dry and not dirty, from your watercolor kit, you could use it to rub off instead of using your hand the leftover eraser. Let's see. Yeah, like, okay. So we feel we want to start defining our lines and outlines. So let's, with our pencil, maybe switch pencils or make sure that you sharpen your pencil. Um, that's why it's good to have more than one pencil. I'm gonna start defining my lines. Okay. I'm looking for a paper to put on top of my drawing. Small paper that I could use. Let's see if it works. To cover my drawing as I draw so I don't dirty it too much, if that makes sense. Okay. So this is a big piece of paper, but you see I'll put it um, on top of the paper to rest my hand while I work somewhere else. So if you see me covering the drawing, it's not covering it, it's protecting it a little bit. It's good practice when you're shading a lot. Okay. Maybe the gift, the ribbon that goes across is a little tiny lighter. Okay, so let's fix the outlines a little to sharpen them. With this, we only can do it making them a little darker. You see? You see how I know I don't do just one line, I build a few of them. On the frame, you can make an angle like this here frames do have that. This is how the wooden frame connects in an angle. You see, but by defining the outline, the image gets a little more defined and crisp compared to what surrounds it. Your pencil runs out. You know, you need to either sharpen it or get another pencil. Just be aware of that. You're using your pencil a lot. Here's the little angle. Here's the little angle. But you see how my painting on the wall now got a little, you see, I have to switch pencils. Got a little more crisp. See? It's okay. The couch doesn't have to be that dark outline. You know, the couch doesn't have to be outlined so dark. I'm just going to go over the lines with a new pencil, sharpen. I'm just going to go over the lines that were already in the couch. Okay. But not as dark as the frame. You see, everything is getting a little darker. I used to be very kind of like a little more desperate, but you could be more gentle by taking the steps that I'm taking. Kind of forces you to be a little more thoughtful because you know you're placing the paper, you're putting your hand, you're not in a rush. If I'm going too fast, you could pause the video. I always say that. See, I'm trying to avoid touching the paper with my other hand or my drawing hand. The top curve here of the cushions. And I think that's the couch, a little tiny darker than before. You see how it's darker than the lamp? But don't worry, we're gonna get to this table too. Even though we haven't started shading for the light source, this shading and outline is extremely important. And here we are. I could make the lamp shade lighter by erasing inside here. You know, you see. I'm going to leave the objects a little bit alone. I'm going to do the table here a little bit and we'll be done. Oh, and the window. Sorry. Let's do the window. I was gonna thinking of doing curtains, but let's leave it alone. Let's leave it the way it is because we want to really emphasize that it's our light source. So let's leave the window simple like this. And again, sharpen your pencil or just, you see how I'm just switching for a new pencil? It's very important because you lose the tip of your pencil as you're darkening things, as you're creating these outlines. The table, and then we will recreate, literally recreate the shading we did when we drew the objects on the first video. Not for the living room, but on the first video. You know, the top of the legs here, the topper part, when we shade, we could actually shade that part darker because it's by being higher, closer to the table top, there's less light. There's less light being getting in that part. Okay. We can clean all of this later. Let's start shading our objects. Okay. Ready? Let's start with the present. Let's start from left to right. All right. So remember the gift when in an angle, bottom left, because the light is extremely to the upper right. So it's very important you know where the light source is and you draw a line, imaginary line that hits the object, and that's the angle the shadow casts. So this is a little bit up inside here. When you draw the shadow, don't worry about the, let's think of the shadow only, not the object. When the shadow touches the object, yes, that's very important. That's going to be very sharp, defined. But as it builds up on the floor or the ground or the street, as it builds out, just let it disappear. Don't worry. This is going to be very, you know, so, but the moment it's touching here needs to be defined. So I'm going to shade this, emphasizing where it's touching, you see. And where when it's not touching, I'm gonna make it vanish like this. And now I'm darkening the part where it touches. Not too much. I mean, it is darkened, but there you go. We're gonna have to do that with everything, okay? So we did it with the gift. We have to do it with the couch a little bit. So the couch, you see, I do the little stumps, and right away I need to do I need to actually, I don't even need to do the stump. I need to do the whole thing under because the couch is huge. You see, the whole couch is blocking the light from the bottom of it. So the key here is to just emphasize and go away right away and make it disappear. Okay, um, students, class. So you see how I'm trying to make it dissipate right away. Don't emphasize for too long the shadow of the couch. Look, it died out by now. But under it, yes. Under it right here, we could darken it a little. Yep. But the rest, like this could all vanish into the paper. And you could use the eraser to sharpen these angles right there. You see how the couch looks is creating a shadow. Let's shade a little bit, just a little bit, the entire side of the gift, this side, because it's on the shade, not the top. The top I'm leaving alone, just this side. And maybe because we darken this side, we're gonna darken a little bit the ribbon when it goes through this part. Okay. Awesome. We're gonna do the table, the coffee, the bottle, and the lamp, and we're all set. I mean, that's basically it. We could probably darken this part that's touching the wall and the ground and define it a little better. You know, okay, if that makes sense. This just to differentiate it between everything else. Okay, and you see how your drawing starts getting a little dirty. Don't worry. Okay. Um, the table has four legs. So look, one leg. Remember the angle. You see, I'm drawing a line that comes from the window to the object. That's how the leg, the angle should be. So it starts darker. Use another pencil or sharpen the tip of your pencil to make sure that this comes out crispy. Um, Keep that angle. Okay, and look, I'm gonna make it disappear I know we have the body of the actual table. Maybe it's about here that I start creating something kind of gray, undefined, because we don't want to define it too much yet. And I'm cleaning a little bit, just a little bit. The cup, we barely gonna do any shading, okay? Because it's so small. So that's the other thing you need to consider. The the size of what you are doing compared to your paper, you know. If you're doing something extremely small, you can't really do too much details. You know, just be aware of that. I'm just erasing to clean my drawing. You know, you see. But the tip of my fingers are very dirty. And I'm going to use a brush, just like I told you. Putting very little pressure to get rid of this erasers things. Okay. um, all right. The lamp. Maybe needs a little more here. Okay. Let's start with the lamp. You see the table? So is it making sense now? We have every shadow following an angle towards the window, and we've been very subtle into how the shadow dies out. Let's call it dies out, like dissipates. So it's defined when it touches the object, like at the legs, but everything else just it's very gentle. Same thing with the gift. Same thing with the couch. You see, when it's close to the actual couch, yes, we define this line, but the shadow itself near the object dark, as it goes away from the object, um, opens up and dissipates. All right. Um, okay, okay. Um, Cup, bottle. We don't see much of the lamp now that I look at it. Okay, so sorry. We're gonna do one side of the stick here. And then remember that this is a cone, so it bends. Sorry, not bends, it curves. So this side is dark, it's against the window, and it comes around lighter, 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 lighter. You see? Back here is dark, lighter, lighter, lighter. Now here inside, it's there you go. You see how the lamp just took life form, or Okay. Okay, okay. Let's do the bottom. Which this is very because which we're this is also doing a practice that I emphasize to you of like working everything at once. Please remember always to do that. Work everything at once. Try to avoid, yes, when we tackle, let's say, the GIF, we were working on the GIF specifically, but we kept on looking at everything else. Okay, it's very important to look at the artwork as an overall composition, you know. The bottle is the same thing as the lamp shade up here. It curves, so it's a cylinder shape. So look how I start on the side that's opposite to the window. Darkening it, darkening it, and then I come right at the middle and stop. I'm darkening the side still. You see? Okay. And the cup, same thing. It's just that it curves down too, so it's like a half a sphere. And you remember the inside of a opening or hole has to have um, that's the object itself. Now we're gonna do their shadow, okay? Great. I made my bottle a little bigger as I'm shading. If you see, I added to make the lines more straight. These lines weren't straight, so I made it straight. Make sure your legs are straight and coming from the top of the table down is darker too. Remember, I said that because the top of the table is casting a shadow on the actual legs. The legs are round, so they should also have the left side darker, just like the bottle and the lamp. Just remember that. I forgot to tell you. They are round, so you see. Great. This side of the table, the edge should also be darker. It's away from from the window. This side. Okay. Now let's cast their shadow. Same thing. Angle towards the light. So the sorry the window. When it's touching the object dark, it dissipates. The cup is a sphere. It's half a sphere, so it's gonna be a opposite. So you gotta basically draw an opposite um, and get in there because there's more volume over there on the side, on the other side that we don't see. There we go. That's our cup. You could always with the eraser erase a little, not too much entirely, but you could erase a little around the shadow. Um, Around the shadow, you see, like, and that emphasizes the shadow because the shadow is opposite to light. Sorry, opposite to bright. It's dark. You see how I erase a little bit of what's around the object. Okay. Clean up a little here. Clean up everywhere my hand has been falling in. Maybe erase a little bit on top of the table, make it brighter. With lines of eraser, lines of okay. And this is it. Let's look at our drawing. Finish the flower. There's a flower here. Yes, I'm going to leave the petals white and make the center dark. Define the stem. Maybe do some leaves. So 1 leaf, 2 leaf. In a drawing like this, yes, we want to make sure that lines are clear and lines are not going over other lines of the drawing. So when I did, for example, this is what I mean. When I did just the leaves of the flower, I tried to put the leaves, you see, in somewhere that they don't go over another line of the drawing. Okay, I'm going to erase with a sharp eraser some parts to create highlights, especially in the bottom. So look at the bottom. I'm going to erase this side of the bottle to emphasize maybe this side of the, what is it called? Cup. And this is our drawing, class. You see what I mean by erasing? This side is erased and this side has the shadow. My paper is a little texture, so this is why you hear it very loud. And also why it has, when you look at my shading, you see this this texture. So the texture, you see the wall texture, comes from the paper. The paper has texture. Okay. And I hope you do make sense of what I said about the shadow, the shade coming from the window. Always keep the angle from the light source. I know it's very subtle. I'm not emphasizing shadows too much, but if they are there and we can see them, right? So here's the window. Here's our shadows. Maybe you see the line, you can still see the line, and here you can see the line. Maybe that line can be camouflaged with the actual tone of the shade. So I'm going to try to vanish the emphasis of the line by emphasizing the darkness of the shade. Perfect. So I'll see you all soon. Again, watch this video on your own. Pause it if you need to. Go back. But here's our room, living room with our objects. Casting a shadow from light that comes from the window. Have a great rest of the day.